Hi, everybody. So, this is the first core lesson, A New World. This is actually the North American continent, and in red here, we have America, where we live. Of many hundred years ago, though, life in North America was very different than it is today. These are the Native Americans. They were the first people to ever live in North America. They lived in groups called tribes all over North America. There were no stores like we have now, so they had to find and make everything they needed to survive, whether it was food to eat, clothing to wear, or a house in which to live. Hundreds of years later, an explorer named Christopher Columbus sailed and reached North America, but that was not where he planned to go at all. Do you know where Christopher Columbus had actually planned to go? Well, Columbus set sail from Europe, hoping to find a quicker way to reach India and China, where spices, gold, and other riches were plenty. We have a song that goes for Christopher Columbus to remind us when he sailed. It goes in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. But in 1492, when Columbus actually reached land, after he sailed the ocean blue, he and his crew did not arrive in India or China. They landed instead in North America, where they met the native people who lived there. After Columbus, sailors from different countries in Europe, which is this like light brown and medium brown part over here, traveled to North America. Portugal, Holland, Spain, France, and England all sent explorers to North America, continuing to hope to find riches and goods that they might bring back and trade to sell in Europe. Everyone was interested in the New World. The English did not want to just visit the New World. They were interested in starting a settlement in order to live there. They wanted a place for their people to spread out from their small island country, England, across the Atlantic Ocean. You probably remember the English pilgrims landed at Plymouth Rock in the 1600s, about 100 years after Columbus. The pilgrims had great difficulty adjusting to their new life because it was very different from the city where they grew up in Europe. The Native Americans that the pilgrims met helped them survive, especially during their first year. So, does anybody recognize what event is going on right here? This is Thanksgiving. This is the very first Thanksgiving. So, we have our pilgrims over here and our Native Americans over here. The Native Americans wanted this feast in order to thank the pilgrims wanted this feast in order to thank the Native Americans for everything that they'd done for them. But the pilgrims weren't the only English people to start settlements in North America. In fact, before the pilgrims ever arrived in Plymouth, other English men and women had settled in two other places. The first English colony was on Roanoke Island, just down here, followed by Jamestown, which is right here. A colony is a place ruled by a faraway country, so the Englishmen and women who moved and settled in Roanoke Island and Jamestown did not make their own rules or laws. The English king and government ruled their colonies. The firstborn child in North America to English parents was on Roanoke Island, and her name was Virginia Dare. We don't really know what happened to Virginia Dare or other English settlers living on Roanoke Island because they mysteriously disappeared several years after they arrived. For this reason, Roanoke Island colony is called the Lost Colony. Some people think life was so difficult on Roanoke Island that the colonists left their settlements and went to live with some of the Native American tribes. Remember, the Pilgrims had difficulty too, and depended upon the Native Americans to help them grow food and find food. Some people think Roanoke Island settlers may have gone to live with the Native Americans since they may have run out of food. It was another 20 years after the Roanoke colony, before the English tried to settle again in North America.